Hey HopeQuest family, Troy here, and I cannot tell you how excited I am to talk to you today because there's two things we're going to talk about today, and both of them excite me a whole lot. One of those is money, and I love money not because I want to have a bunch of it, but because I love the opportunities that God gives me when I have the resources that I need. But the other thing that super excites me about today is we're going to talk about giving and generosity. And I know for me, I love to be able to give. John, I know your heart, you love to be able to give. And so we're going to talk today about those two things. Now, you guys know John. John Tanner is the CEO of Amplify Roofing, founder and CEO of Amplify Roofing, and also the chairman of the 2020 capital campaign here at HopeQuest. And we've got some exciting things to talk about next month about that. Yeah. But also Bridget Preston is with us today, and Bridget's a CPA.
That's correct.
She's a very smart person, and she too has a heart for these two things. She herself is generous, and one of her heartbeats is to help others be generous for the sake of the kingdom of God. So we want to talk to you today about something that the government did this year. COVID's been a fun and crazy time.
I don't know about fun.
Yeah, I don't know either, John. But I've quit saying, John, that 2020 can't be any worse, just because I'm afraid of saying that. But I'm praying and hoping that we're going to turn the corner at some point. But the CARES Act was passed, and what a help it was to so many who needed help. And I know for us here at HopeQuest, the PPP was a huge lifeline for us. But there was something that happened in the CARES Act that a lot of people are not aware of, and that is there were some things that were passed in the CARES Act that impacted money, and in particular taxes, and in particular charitable giving. And I was talking to several friends and donors at HopeQuest, guys that are generous and people that love the Lord and want to invest and have invested. Yeah. And many of them were unaware. So that led you and me to think, gosh, we need to tell folks what's going on with this great news from the CARES Act, these wonderful opportunities. So John, Bridget's here to help us because she's smart and knows these sort of things.
And she knows the specifics, right?
That's
versus
correct.
Just the idea.
That's
of it.
correct.
Yeah.
But get us started here with there's four things that the government did with the CARES Act related to giving and taxes and generosity and charitable donations. So get us started with that.
Yeah, so the first thing that the CARES Act provides for is allowing you to, for those of you that itemize your taxes, it allows you to go from 60% to 100% of your adjusted gross income, right? And so you're able to, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that's huge.
It is huge, yeah, because if you're already giving and you're already itemizing your taxes, it allows you to give even more. And again, that's the reason why we have Bridget here, is because she can give us the specifics on some of what that looks like.
So Bridget, talk to us about itemizing and what is the standard deduction, what's the benefit of itemizing, and in particular, what's the big deal with the government jumping us from 60% of our AGI to 100% just for 2020?
The biggest thing is a jump from 60% to 100% means that you can effectively remove all of your taxable income. By using these donations, you can give your money to the charity that you want. You'll be able to see the impact that your money can give, and you get to have some kind of control on how it's spent.
And the interesting thing about itemized deductions, you and I had this conversation. You haven't always been an itemizer.
No.
Partly because you just didn't realize what a cool opportunity itemizing was.
Well, that's right.
Tell us, what you've learned in the midst of all this and why forever going forward, you're an itemizer.
Oh, so you're going to commit me to the forever.
Why not, John?
Yeah, but I mean, traditionally taking the standard deduction, probably getting crushed in a lot of ways on taxes. Just feeling who and what am I giving to, versus the way that my heart's desire is now, is being able to give to a cause that I feel passionate about. And obviously being the chairman of the campaign here at HopeQuest, all that we've done for the past 20 years, it only makes sense to itemize in a way and give that to the cause of fighting and eradicating addiction.
Well,
Right?
you and I were talking about so many people that we know that God is blessed,
Right.
that they make good money, but because they don't itemize, they're not able to be as generous as maybe their hearts would want them to be.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us about what the standard deduction is and why itemizing can help us if we've never itemized before.
Itemizing can help in a lot of ways. As a single person, the itemized deduction is around $6,000. And so that's kind of small, especially if you own a home or you pay any kind of state or local taxes.
So state taxes alone might wipe out that entire thing.
State taxes alone, if you have real estate taxes or state withholding even a lot of times, and you have a significant amount of income, it can be a lot that's there and easily get you to that point where you would be more financially, it would be make more sense to itemize.
And when you say make more sense, what we're saying there is it doesn't hurt you. In fact, it probably helps limit your liability. And on top of that, you're able to help and bless by giving to causes that you care about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, with that, you get to give your money to where you want to, and you also you are also putting more money back in your pocket essentially from the taxes, because it can also have an effect if you're in a state where there is a state tax that you have to pay, such as Georgia.
Right.
Switching over from that standard deduction that the IRS gives you back to the itemized deduction can have a huge benefit, because Georgia has such a small standard deduction and you're required, if you use a federal standard, you have to use a state. You can't play both cards.
Right. So what you're saying is, if I jump over here and even though for a married person the standard deduction is how much?
For a married filing jointly, it's actually $24,000, and for single, it's actually $12,000.
Okay, but that's still not much. It's still
not much. It still adds up very quickly.
So 24,000 here, and what you're saying is, how much is the Georgia for married filing jointly? Do you know off the top of your head?
It's I think like around $5,600.
Wow.
It's very small.
I mean, that would be your mortgage interest and your taxes if you own a home.
It is quite small, and that's the problem is you really, for Georgia, if you can get even close to where you're itemizing deductions, maybe you're not going to hit that $24,000 as married filing jointly. Maybe you're a little bit below it, but you could make a sizable donation to something that you believe in, such as HopeQuest, and put it to that point where it flips it. Now all of a sudden, all that money that you put into Georgia is coming back to you, and you were able to do something that you feel good and positive about.
Right, because your Georgia tax due is based upon where you end up with your federal AGI.
Correct. Your Georgia is based on you take your AGI, and as I said, the Georgia standard deduction is pitiful.
So here's the bottom line. We have an opportunity as individuals who want to give more. I mean, John, you've been generous with HopeQuest for a long time. And I can remember many years where you were very, very generous, but you would have wanted to do more. You just didn't realize all of this stuff. And now the government then this year is doing even more. And so what we want you to know is this is an opportunity to really accomplish a couple of different things, but the biggest is make an impact on the kingdom of God.
That's right.
And you know, whether you give that to HopeQuest or another charity that you're passionate about, it's you investing in the kingdom of God and you investing in people and ministry and the gospel. And we know your heart is to help share freedom and hope with people. And so what a great opportunity. So look into itemizing. And if you've got questions, holler back at us, because I know Bridget's phone number and I can call her. And so if you got questions, ask. But itemizing deductions, super, super important. I hope you're doing it, and I hope you realize if you are doing it, you can increase that number. So John, tell us, you know, one of the things that's happened this year, thing number 2, is there's been an increase in what we can deduct. Talk to us about that real quick, and then we're going to kick it over and get an expert opinion.
Yeah, so another increase as a business or as a corporate donor, it's also increased from 10% to 25%.
Wow.
So there's a significant difference in the amount that a business can contribute now as well.
I'm not good with math, but is that 150% increase? Or
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes, it
that's
is.
huge.
It's very big.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow,
so
if
you
we
can
had your
really
little
make
sonic boom thing, we should press that button right now.
Well, if you didn't make me turn my phone on silent, we'd have that. No. Yeah, but no, it's very significant.
So tell us what that means, Bridget, when we talk about corporate charitable donations have been increased from 10 to 25%. What does that mean?
In the past, corporations have only been able to contribute up to 10% of their taxable income as a deduction. This year, 25%, as you said. I mean, that's 2.5 times what you could give. So again, by reducing your taxable income like that, it's less money to the government, and you have control over where your spending goes.
Right, because someone's going to get that money.
Absolutely. It's a matter of if you want it to go to the government,
Yeah.
or do you want it to go to a good cause? Do you want it to go to something that you're passionate about?
Which is exactly the conversations you and I have been having of this very year about this, you know, and what it looks like, especially now given this time of year, at the end of the year, and what is the opportunity for us to, you know, really do some really fun things and good things, and to be able to give to a cause that I feel passionate about.
Because, I mean, so you're telling me you'd rather not give your money to the IRS, you'd rather give it to a cause that is near and dear to your heart?
Well, I mean, I think that's obvious, right? You know, and I think that's obvious for a lot of us, you know, especially given the fact that we can see exactly what our contributions doing here at HopeQuest, and we've been very vocal about that with the way that we've been able to communicate here, what's been going on at HopeQuest, all the really cool things that are going on here. And just, you know, speaking personally, it's been really awesome to experience the joy that exists in that giving. And what's fun about it is it's all below the line, right? It's not above the line. And there was actually a big nonprofit giving organization that has giving funds set up and everything else that was talking about this very thing.
Yeah.
Why would you give above the line when you can take advantage of these things from an itemization standpoint, from a taxation standpoint, or a non-taxation standpoint?
So again, what we're encouraging you to do is to recognize that God has opened up a door this year that probably won't be open next year.
As it stands right now, this is the year. You have till December 31st to take advantage of these rules. Unless something changes in Congress, this is the year to do it.
Right. And my guess would be going forward with the new administration, tax cuts and tax relief probably isn't going to be top of the wish list there.
That's not the laws I saw.
Yeah.
Discussed.
So this is your opportunity this year to do what I know you already want to do, and that is to be more generous and to bless others and to help the kingdom of God grow and expand and help people find freedom and hope. So again, whether it's to HopeQuest or to someone else that you know loves Jesus and is out there on the front lines, I want to encourage you to maximize your giving with these increases and these opportunities. Now, John, there may be folks out there that don't make, in fact, let's just say this, there are folks out there that don't make six figures, that aren't rolling in it, that are struggling. They're still paying their more than their fair share
more than
taxes, unfortunately. But the reality is, there's something that happened that we were talking about earlier that really is a benefit, no matter how much you make. If you're paying taxes, in 2020, the government has given you an opportunity. Tell us about that real quick.
Right, which is an above the line contribution, right, or donation. Or deduction, excuse me. I know I'm stumbling through my words right there, but an above the line deduction of cash of up to $300. So no matter what, go ahead.
Yeah, so tell us what that means, because above the line, I don't even know what that means. Tell us what that means.
What that means is it doesn't matter if you are itemized or you're standard. You get to take advantage of this. You get to put $300 and give it to a charity that you want, that you believe in, and it's still going to lower your taxes for you. It's more money in your pocket, and again, money.
Yeah, so
you
again,
get to see the
it's
benefit.
a win-win is what you're saying.
It's a win-win for anyone.
It causes me to pay less taxes. It gives $300 to my favorite charity, and there's no loss to me whatsoever.
No, it's only a gain to you.
Right, it's a gain to me. It's a gain to the ministry that I care about. And I can do this whether I itemize, whether I take the standard deduction, it doesn't matter. $300 I can put on my taxes.
That is correct. Itemized standards, regardless, you're going to be able to take advantage of that $300. If you have any kind of income that you're going to have taxable, that is a great benefit.
So here's what we want to encourage you to do. If you're in that boat and you're gonna fill out a tax return next year, and you're gonna owe some money, or maybe what you don't realize is you've already paid in through your payroll withholding, so you've already paid in a substantial amount already, and maybe you'll get a little bit of that back, maybe you won't get any of that back. $300. So here's what I want you to do. If you haven't had the opportunity to give anything this year, if you've said, Troy, this has been a hard year, maybe I was furloughed for a couple of months, or things have been slow at work and I don't have as much money as I had, the gift to you this year is an opportunity to join what God is doing by giving, and it doesn't cost you anything because you get to take it off of your taxes above the line, no matter what else is true in your taxes. So if you've got any questions about that, please reach out to me, and I'd love to explain more if you've got questions. But the bottom line is, my guess, whether you use TurboTax or go to H&R Block, or whether you have a CPA do your taxes, the bottom line is you should be able to put that $300 in there. So send those checks. Run that debit card.
Yeah, just do
$300.
Nothing to lose.
What a great
Absolutely.
opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, I'm expecting from this video alone there to be scores of folks out there sending us $300.
I'm certain of it.
How about that?
Yeah. Well,
All right.
I think the fourth one's probably the best served for you, because you dealt with it specifically with dealing with retirement income.
Yeah.
Because we had a very generous donation given this year in terms of the RMDs that.
Yeah, so we're talking here about retirement accounts, in particular IRAs, or does this apply to other retirement accounts also? Or?
Well, the IRAs are the ones where you have the required minimum distribution.
Right. So what John's referring to, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this. For those of you that have IRAs and you are at a point where you have to, it's called a minimum required distribution, MRD, and if you are having an IRA and you don't need that money currently to live on, it's the bane of your existence, because the government forces you to take that. Not only do they force you to take that MRD, but they force it onto your taxes. It goes into your income, and then you have to pay taxes on that money. What can happen? So what John's saying about, here's the story.
Yeah.
One of our donors has an IRA, and they don't need it right now, and they don't know when and if they will need it. They have taken, and every year their MRD comes to HopeQuest. Now tell us what that means for them tax-wise. That MRD is not going to them, it's coming to HopeQuest. What's that mean?
It's actually a wonderful way to minimize your taxable income, because the government is going to force you to take it so they can collect their taxes. That's the whole point behind it.
Right. That's why they're forcing you, because they want that tax money.
Absolutely, because you put that money in there, you probably put it in there tax-free before, and now it's grown, and the IRS wants their cut of it.
Yeah.
But by doing this and having their money go directly to HopeQuest, it never hits their taxable income. They're satisfying the government's requirement by taking this RMD, but instead of it being on theirs and paying another 20 to 30% in taxes, it goes to HopeQuest, never hits their bottom line, no taxes are paid on it. It essentially stayed tax-free for them and benefit the charity.
Yeah. And then here's the cool part of the story. You know this. I don't know if you might not know this, but this is cool. That person this year, because of something that you're about to explain to us, took and gave more than that MRD, more than the minimum required distribution, because it was a blessing to us and they wanted to be a part of the 2020 capital campaign,
Mm-hmm.
but also they realized that it was going to be a win-win from a tax perspective. So they took and they gave us a $100,000 gift out of their IRA. It had zero impact on their taxable income and their taxes. It was a huge blessing to us.
Yeah.
Tell us why this year in particular, that is a possible thing to do that's just a win-win across the board.
It's just one of those years where the CARES Act is really trying to get the people to give, and
Right.
so they've increased these limitations that had been in place and are allowing you to give this money, and so they can give this $100,000 without having the taxable implications from it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So win-win there with money that's there that God has blessed you with, that the government would love to get their hands on, but that God has opened up a way for that money to help people experience freedom and hope and to help people be impacted by the gospel. And so, John, as a business owner, talk to us a little bit about what's in your heart and how, as you've learned these things about the CARES Act and what the Congress has done this year, how it's impacted you.
Yeah, well, first, I mean, what you just described there about helping people that are struggling with addiction experience freedom and hope has been, my heart's passion for this year. I mean, it's the reason why I came on as campaign chairman.
Yeah.
And then as I've learned more and more and experienced just the giving, the stories that have come from this, and then in my own personal professional business at Amplify Roofing, it's one of the things that Bridget and I have been talking back and forth a lot about is, how can I make an even greater impact, with given the fact that we've talked about this CARES Act. So what can we itemize? What can we, give? What can we do? Because that to me is what this year's been all about. And that's what's really been stirring in my heart.
Last year, one last story, last year at the end of the year, I talked to one of our donors who's a dear friend, and we were trying to meet some goals at the end of the year, and so I called him up and I said, hey, I want you to pray about, could you really help us? And I gave him an amount, and he said, let me talk to my CFO and I'll get back to you. And he called his CFO, and that particular scenario at that date, they had already maxed out. They had already hit that 10% limit. Now, thank God, because this guy just is a generous person and he loves Jesus and he loves us. He went ahead and that was a tax hit for him in terms of, he didn't get a benefit from that gift. But this year, 2.5 times that amount is now possible, 150% increase. And so I know God knows what is in your heart. I know God knows what our needs are. Bridget, we're grateful for your wisdom and your insight. And again, I know how to get in touch with her. So if you got questions,
Absolutely.
holler at me. And John, as always, thank you. Grateful for you. Grateful for your friendship. Grateful for the ways in which you've helped HopeQuest through the years. Proud of you and Allison. And we're grateful. Holler at us and ask us questions. Give us your thoughts on all this. And most of all, just pray and ask God, God, what do you want me to do as the year comes to a close? God, how do you want me to impact people who are looking for freedom and hope? We appreciate you. Have a great day.